How's it going, my bones? YouTube, SilverDFanng is back with more YouTube reaction. There it is, brain. This is a cool one. Ryan Kelly comedy, Ford, cults, cars, and crime. A deep look into Ford as a company, and if you don't know anything about Ford, you're in for a treat. Enjoy.
Hey Ford, what do you make?
Okay, this is Ryan Kelly comedy, Ford, cults, cars, and crimes.
Buddy.
We built the modern world from our factory style to making the rich man's toy affordable for the working family.
Also, a lot of crimes, a lot of manipulation, a lot of Big Brother style watching of their employees, a lot of lost limbs, and a whole disgusting factory town in South America.
We are the American dream, cast in steel and powered by gasoline. We made the Model T, the F-150.
Also, Ford was mentioned in Hitler's book as an example of how a fascist society could work. So,
and the Mustang.
Wow, Henry Ford, the assembly line, right? He revolutionized manufacturing and he paid his workers a fair wage of $5 per day. Sounds like a real man of the people.
Henry was a visionary. He believed in efficiency and progress and a very specific vision for society.
What do you mean by specific?
Well, that $5 a day thing came with a few strings attached. It was only for men who passed a moral inspection from our sociological department. We sent investigators to their homes to make sure they weren't...
This is the Big Brother stuff I'm talking about. Literally, Ford would spend money and assets just keeping track on his employees 24/7.
Drinking, gambling, or taking in borders. We wanted to make sure our workers were the right kind of people.
Also, this is why he's in Mein Kampf.
Oh, Henry was very passionate about social engineering.
You had a sociological department that would spy on your workers' private lives? Oh, what type of social engineering we talking?
We saw it as benevolent guidance.
Right.
And Henry's passions weren't just limited to the factory floor. He was also a prolific publisher. He bought his local newspaper, the Dearborn Independent, and distributed it in our dealerships for free across the country.
Okay, that's nice. Little local news for people waiting for an oil change.
Propaganda.
It wasn't just local news. He had a passion for international issues. For years, the front page was a running series of articles called The International Jew, the world's foremost problem.
I'm sorry, what?
Oh, it was a collection detailing how a cabal of Jewish bankers...
Americans are dumb and they don't realize that a lot of their, like, richest people through history are just really racist assholes that want people to be beneath them and think that they're special just for being white.
Controlled the world, totally not plagiarized from the Protocols of the Elders of Zion, which was itself just a totally fabricated text. Great news, though, regardless of research or factuality. It was incredibly popular.
How popular are we talking?
We bound the articles into a book and translated it into 16 languages. It was a smash hit in Germany, especially with this young, up-and-coming artist turned politician who was a huge fan of Henry's.
Okay, so you're telling me that Henry Ford, the great American industrialist, was one of the world's foremost anti-Semites.
What can we say? When Henry wanted to do something, he really went all the way. I mean, this wasn't the only time he attempted to create a utopia through, misguided means. Our little Amazon thing.
Yeah.
You had a utopian experiment in the jungle. Did you Jim Jones this?
Yep.
In the 1920s, Henry was tired of being held hostage by British and Dutch rubber monopolies, so he was like, fine, I'll grow my own. So he acquired some land in Brazil, the size, a small state, and he set out to build the perfect American town in the middle of the jungle.
I don't know how much detail they're going to get into, but, like, literally, this town was set up like a 1920s Oklahoma City. And, like, they had, like, square dancing on Fridays, and they were forced to do it. It was just a bunch of Brazilians not knowing American Midwest culture and just being forced to do it on a daily.
He called it Fordlandia.
Fordlandia? It sounds like a theme park.
It was a theme park of productivity. We built a modern American town from scratch. Neat rows of houses, a hospital, school, a golf course, and of course, a factory. We tried to impose a perfect Midwestern lifestyle on our Brazilian workers. We gave them hamburgers, ice cream, made them work 9 to 5 shifts in the tropical heat, and organized square dance on the weekends.
Oh, I'm from the Midwest and I love it, but I wouldn't force other people to do it. How'd that go for them?
They rioted repeatedly. They hated the food, hated the hours, and it turned out the rubber trees that we planted were the wrong kind and were immediately wiped out by a native blight. The whole project was an astonishing, money-hemorrhaging disaster. We eventually sold the land back to the Brazilian government for just a pittance, but it was... it was something.
Okay, you tried to subjugate a culture with your own ideas. Shocker, it didn't work. Oh, speaking of which, what's the Austrian fan of Henry's up to?
Oh, stuff is pretty intense. Can I have an ADHD break?
ADHD? Is this knowledge for money?
It is! It's sponsored! I found a brand that isn't evil and was willing to sponsor us while we made fun of the evil ones.
Yeah, it is really a gamble to reach out to us, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, you either get a brand deal or become a script. They normally become script.
Okay, what do you got now?
We put out a video a day, every all having the energy of a depressed sloth on Ambien.
Okay, yeah, I get it. Stop. I'm starting to feel the anxiety.
Yeah, that part probably doesn't help your sleep. But what if we removed a single stripe of stress by having something healthy and tasty so connect free breakfast for 1 year? That's good.
Video and keeping us rolling. If it's right for you, we hope you use our code.
But people were using code if it was body.
Okay, moving on. Back to the bad F company.
Get this. In 1938, Henry's big fan became Chancellor of Germany. So he gave him the Grand Cross of the German Eagle on his 7th.
I forgot about this. Yeah, Ford was awarded a trophy or an award from Hitler. I forgot that part.
75th birthday. It was the highest honor the Third Reich could
Check
bestow
out the
on a
Pando
foreigner.
Pet
Wait,
Cafe
the little
to play
mustache
with
man
me.
gave Henry Ford a medal?
What can we say? He was a big fan. He even kept a life-size portrait of Henry next to his desk. Called him an inspiration. But when the war started,
Oh, please tell me.
So if anyone tells you that, like, stop comparing the U.S. today to Nazi Germany, tell them that they're an idiot that just doesn't like to hear repetition and they don't understand how accurate that is.
You didn't make war machines for the NSDAP?
no! But our subsidiary Fordwerk did.
Come on!
No, it's not what you think. Common misconception. But the factories were taken over and we received no profits during the war. They yoinked our stuff. We didn't give it to them.
Huh, I totally thought you did.
No, but they did use our factories to produce a lot of trucks. And then the Allies had the audacity to bomb our factories we would have liked back. So we sued the Allies after the war to damage to our former Axis factories.
Of course you did. How dare they stop a world threat?
But for the U.S., we knew where our duty was. We became the arsenal of democracy.
Great, really closely related to both sides' leaders. Neat.
We built the legendary Willow Run factory, a mile-long behemoth that at its peak was churning out a complete B-24 Liberator bomber every 63.
I'm sorry, but I gotta go back to the fact that they fucking sued all the Allied nations because they blew up their Ford's factories that were taken over. Oh my god, fucking Ford.
3 minutes. We built the M4 Sherman tanks and the iconic Ford GPW, better known as the Jeep. We helped win the war after helping, gotta start the war.
So you went from inspiring the Austrian to creating the war machines that would crush it. You created your own market.
Yeah.
We're a very adaptable company.
Again, history repeats itself. History repeats itself.
And after the war, we went right back to making things for civilians. In the 1950s, we introduced the lifeguard package with revolutionary features like seatbelts and padded dashboards.
Seatbelts. Wow, that is a pivot from the war stuff. So you're all about safety now?
We were not. Unfortunately, it was a massive sales flop. People thought it ironically made the cars look more unsafe. So we pivoted again. In the 1960s, we gave people what they really wanted. The Mustang. Pure, unadulterated speed and style.
Cool, so the 60s was good?
Kind of. Unless you got one of our transmissions.
Pardon?
So for years, from the late 60s into the, 80s, many of our automatic transmission cars had a tiny little quirk. There was a design flaw in the gear selector that made it incredibly easy for the car to just slip from park into reverse.
Wait, what?
All by itself.
I'm not a car guy. I did not know about this part. I knew about the history, political shit. This is dumb. No wonder Ford is just a shell of what it was. They fucked up royally.
Car would just start rolling backwards on its own. Well, I mean, good news. You have the first self-driving cars, in a horrific sense.
Spontaneously! You park your car, get out to get the mail, and suddenly your 2-ton Ford Galaxy 500 would be silently rolling down the driveway. The defect was linked to hundreds of injuries and dozens of...
Blue, I know what you're saying, but it does feel weird saying that it gets worse after they inspired Hitler to start World War II. But I know what you mean.
deaths. It was a real statistical anomaly.
That is not an anomaly. That is a deadly flaw that you refuse to fix.
We prefer to handle it on a case-by-case basis. A recall would have been administratively burdensome. We eventually settled with the government by sending out a warning sticker for people to put on their dashboards. A very cost-effective solution.
You put a warning sticker on millions of cars instead of fixing a defect that was killing people?
It was a very well-worded sticker. And in the 1970s, we gave people what they needed. A cheap, fuel-efficient, small car to compete with the imports.
Toyota?
The Ford Pinto.
Oh, great, the Pinto. Car that explodes.
That is a gross oversimplification. The car didn't just explode. It had a minor design quirk where, if it was rear-ended at moderate speed, its fuel tank was prone to being punctured by the differential bolts, causing the entire vehicle to be engulfed in a ball of fire.
That is not a quirk. That is a rolling firebomb.
Look, we did the math. We ran a cost-benefit analysis, and we calculated that paying out the occasional lawsuit to burn victims or wrongful deaths would be significantly cheaper.
I'll be honest, there's a lot of reasons why the automotive industry in the U.S. is failing, but I'm surprised more people don't bring up the fact that Ford just for decades was just a garbage product.
Than spending $11 per car to install a single safety shield over that fuel tank. It was just good, solid business.
You did a memo that literally said it's cheaper to let them burn.
It was a very well-reasoned memo, and it proves we're not just innovators in automotive engineering, but also in risk management. Besides, it was the last time we got people killed. What? Oh, you know, we had this very special relationship with Argentina during the Dirty War in the 1970s.
I know about this.
No.
I know about
Our
this.
Ford Falcon was the preferred vehicle of the military who does death squads. It was the unofficial car of state-sponsored kidnapping and disappearance. But we were more than just a supplier. Our own factory in Buenos Aires had a very proactive management style.
What does that mean?
Well, according to survivors, who were disappointed existed at all, when the union leaders in our factory would start causing trouble, our managers would point them out to the military. The soldiers would come right into the factory floor, abduct the workers, and take them to the detention center that had been set up on our property. It was at the factory's rugby field.
You let the military operate a secret torture camp inside your factory to get rid of union organizers. Is that right?
We believe it made...
Yeah. It's funny that the automotive union is one of the strongest in the U.S. because Ford, in particular, hated unions. Shockingly. I know, I'm surprised too.
Level up.
Dude was not the originator, but he was definitely one of the granddaddies of capitalism over
Thanks,
anything
Blue Fox
else.
Overlord.
Maintaining a productive and harmonious work environment. And so we simply outsourced the human resources challenges to our local partner, who had a very specific skill set.
This is monstrous. You had to have done something good, right? I mean, what about the rivalry with Ferrari? The movie, you were the good guy.
It's delicious,
We
Blue
were!
Fox
It's a
Overlord.
fantastic story. Henry Ford II got snubbed.
Was he the good guy? I don't think Ford were the good guys. I think the driver was cool. We like the driver and whoever Matt Damon was. That was cool. I don't think we ever was like, yeah, Ford. It was more like, yeah, the guy's working for Ford.
by Enzo Ferrari, so he declared corporate war, and then we built the GT40 to humiliate them at Le Mans. It was a triumph of American engineering.
See, that's a wholesome story of competition, unlike everything else we've talked about.
It is, and we were so good at competition that in the early 2000s, we decided to get a little competitive with our own SUVs, specifically the Ford Explorer.
The Explorer? What was wrong with Dora?
Nothing. The Explorer was a fantastic vehicle. The problem was our partnership with Firestone Tires. It turned out they had a specific model of tire, which happened to be standardly equipped to our Explorer, that had a tendency to suddenly separate at high speeds.
What?
The tires would just disintegrate?
Spontaneously. This would often cause the driver to lose control, and because the Explorer was a high...
Is Firestone Tires still around? I remember hearing that name, but decades ago. Firestone cannot be doing well after this.
riding SUV, it was particularly prone to rolling over. It was a perfect storm of catastrophic failure.
How bad was it?
Hundreds of deaths, thousands of injuries. It became a massive public scandal. We, of course, blamed Firestone's shoddy tires. They, of course, blamed our unstable SUV design.
You both
we
suck.
ended up in a massive corporate divorce that ended a century-long partnership between the two companies. It was very messy. We insisted that the Explorer was perfectly safe, as long as the tires didn't explode.
Well, really, it's perfectly safe if it doesn't disintegrate or explode. Dude, those are the worst things.
Yeah, but some of the other stuff we were dealing with was even harder to make go away. And that's how we became pioneers
Welcome,
in environmental
Shy 96.
modification.
What does that even mean?
Well, you see,
Hi,
we
Shy.
have a long, proud history
No,
of...
not Sleepy Shy.
landscaping. For decades, our factories in places like New Jersey and the Rampal Mountains would generate a lot of industrial waste.
How you
Paint
doing,
sludge,
bud?
solvents, all sorts of fun chemicals. We found a very efficient disposal method. We just dumped it in the woods.
A comedic sketch on the history of Ford automobiles and how disgusting of a company and owners they are.
In mine shafts, wherever we could find a convenient hole.
You poisoned communities for generations?
Yeah.
You created super fun sites?
Yep.
We created long-term ecological study areas, and it's not just the ground. We believe in impacting the atmosphere as well. Our F-Series trucks have been the best-selling vehicle in America for 40 years.
Oh, I forgot Ford made the F1. Yeah, this company sucks.
40 years of being the undisputed champion of moving stuff around and turning a lot of gasoline into not at all fuel-efficient progress.
Okay, I was so much happier before any of this conversation happened.
And to show our commitment to the future, we even fought against higher fuel economy standards. We know our customers. They don't want a tiny fuel-efficient car like the Pinto we used to make. And it's probably not just because they might explode. They want a 6,000-pound lifted F-150 Raptor to go pick up groceries with. We make the truck for the man that probably needs to ask his woman for uppies.
So let me get straight. You were founded by a guy who helped inspire the Austrian painter and then
Yep.
did propaganda for the
Yep.
Nope Oceans because they were not seas. And then you helped create war machines to crush the ideology
Yep.
you had fostered and created.
Yep.
You then went on to create a car knowingly that would incinerate its occupants just to save a couple of
He skipped over the Brazilian Americana town he made and forced all the Brazilians to act American.
bucks. You also didn't fix your transmissions for decades.
Decades.
You poisoned the earth.
Yep.
And then you kept a dictator in charge of Argentina for decades.
Yep.
Am I missing anything?
And the person that took over after the Argentinian dictator is also a dictator, but just a fun one with a chainsaw. And cloned his fucking dog.
Yeah, I mean, we might not have been able to help our favorite side of World War II win, but at least we could help all those survivors live in a nice dictatorship that reminded them of home.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for checking out this video. Check me out on Twitch, SilverDFanng, 2 N's in Fang. Check me out on Twitter and Blue Sky under the same name. Also TikTok. Have a great night.